Radiant team pick.
Staring longingly into Whitemon's eyes as he eats his. (22), to be honest. So the Tree of Protector, of course, is going to slow things down a little bit in terms of who they're protecting against pickoffs globally. 22. So I feel like something like the Marcy probably won't get solo kills again. Is going to slow things down a little bit in terms of who they're protecting against pickoffs globally. 22. So I feel like something like the Marcy probably won't get solo kills again. Is going to slow things down in tempo, or the team fight starting tempo. A Viper. Who still has the potential of diving in, as well as being that frontline presence and backing up a Viper, which is just still an incredibly strong lane.
Okay, so they also kind of swap up their route of the Death Prophet Tiny, so into one of the other more viable position forwards to play with that Death Prophet. We saw it a lot over at ESL, the major as well in Arlington. So
10 seconds
Execration got to be comfortable with, and it gives Shanks on a playmaker too. So it's just a question of can you kind of towards that blink, because again they are a bit more dependent now on Exo to be active and the early item and out of the Earthshaker.
You know how I feel about Earthshakers though? I feel like this is incredibly passive. Like, yes, you've gotten rid of a lot of these heroes that can enable the push, but it's still a lot that you're going to have to contest. Like, the team fight is great on Execration, don't get me wrong, but there's the Viper that I was talking about, not just a dominator for the lane, not just a hero that is enabled by having the Marcy paired together with it, but even the Death Prophet, once she gets the BKB, you just Viper strike her, and then who cares? You know, she's going to be a lot slower to run at you, you're able to escape, you've got decent movement on everyone. I feel like it will just be a solid counter. Viper seems pretty standard to me. They afford to go something like, or probably not the Visage anymore. I just want to see them go, could this be a Clockwork game? Could this be the position 1 Clockwork?
Alright. I've got concerns right now that T1 are very single target. So I'm wondering if Execration are going to be...
You owe me an ice cream if it's a position 1 Clockwork after this Enchantress, by the way.
I don't owe you shit. I'm not saying if it is going to be or isn't. I'm trying to speak.
I don't care. I just want an ice cream, man. I just want an ice cream.
Go buy your own ice cream. Go bully T1.
I would never bully T1. What have they got to do on Execration? What were you thinking?
I would think they'd be considering going down a PL route, because I think T1 are very single target, and it's a nice answer to the Viper. They're going to show the Shadow Fiend again, so I mean, I don't blame them. Like, Bob, he won his matchup versus Thompson on the Morphling mid. So they're like, let's run it back. But we saw what can happen last game if T1 play a lineup that is very, very fast tempo. This could be no different. Like, yes, you're not playing with a Chen, but Enchantress can be very similar, where you just get active across the map, look to bring a creep to rotate. You can have a Marcy position 1 playing super active like we saw from Ana. So I feel like it really could be no different of the playstyle from T1.
Prophet ban leads me to think it's a Clockwork coming through for the offlane potentially. It could happen. I mean, the Enchantress as well is something that we haven't touched on that much either. I mean, Whitemon Enchantress, like, pretty next level. It was one of his best heroes in the world for quite some time. Other heroes like that only approach that level for him are like the Lion. So for him to be able to get this hero, which I still think is really strong this patch, this late into the draft, is a big win coming through from T1. I think they just need to up the tempo even further. Like, you just don't want to wait for this big team fight to truly come online. And even if you go aggressive and Execration wins a team fight off the back of all these big ultimates, it's going to be early enough into the game that you've got an Enchantress that can push, a Viper that can help push, a Marcy that can help push, and then you can just go again. Like, your respawns are going to be like 20 or 30 seconds, so who cares?
Okay, so because we are looking for a 1/4 here for T1.
10 seconds remaining.
What do we... Okay, so what is a hero that can help push the tempo?
Clockwork.
Okay, can you list some others then? If a clock doesn't get picked up, what can play a very similar? So this is the other thing. All right, so you've just given it away early on. Like, there's no reason why you would say a bounty hunter if this is something that Arna doesn't have in his back pocket. So we've got a potential position 1 bounty. Okay.
I mean, look, even just the Nature's Prophet and the Treant, right? Bounty doesn't do that well. You're very single target focused. So I feel like that's pretty significant. He's being kind of quiet right now, though, Arna. He was actually telling me of the story of back when he was playing with OG. I forget if it was the first iteration or the second or the third. A Pugner instead. Okay, interesting. It does stop the Shadow Fiend from spamming you down. I guess if he's quiet, that means that he's not really... it wouldn't be his hero that was being contested, so it's going to be the position 1 Morphling, you would assume. Or the Marcy, who knows? But basically, when they were doing the drafting, sometimes he would just watch like time-lapse videos of stuff decomposing. Whether it be like wood or, you know, food or whatever. He would just sit back and be like, oh, that's interesting. So it's just like, that's his contribution to the draft a lot of times. Like, he is a good enough player that you just give him a few words and he says what a lot of people do in like 20.
So I think for Execration, you're going to need a Nullify builder as the game goes on. I'm also a little bit scared on if you go for like a true position 1, because you do have a bit more greedier heroes in regards to Shadow Fiend who can scale with the right click. Like, DP's going to need a little bit of space. BKB and level 2 and Exo is important. Earthshaker as well needs Blink. So I don't even know if they can go.
Pierces magic damage, does damage against the Enchantress, gets rid of the Viper poison attacks. I don't think that's too bad.
No, I think everything but the Morphling matchup is fine for the Jog. So yeah,
there's nothing in this game that's good against everyone, unfortunately.
Exactly. That's a great point. You're never going to get a hero here that's going to be best suited. And so Lycan will be the route they go down, which I really do not mind. They're even going to swap it up as well. It's a Palos Death Prophet. So position 1 DP. Tino's going to be playing the Lycan in the offlane. Something we were mentioning is just the fact that T1, they are very, very single target, like a big.
Enchantress is just going to yoink him straight away. It'd be just as effective into you. So it's not exactly the easiest lane to have to play into. And of course, Earthshaker, very low damage in lane. And if you're not able to play off the back of the Wolves to do a bit of the harassing, I feel like Whitemon is just going to have the freest time possible in bullying these heroes away and making sure that Arna gets a lot of that free farm in the top lane for the Dire.
I don't know, dude. Thompson's smiling a little bit too much. You're chuckling a bit too much with this Pugner pick. Of course, another hero.
I mean, he's just saying, you're not raising me. You're not raising me down this time. I'm just going to plant my Nether Ward and see what happens.
It's a really, really good Pugner matchup into the Shadow Fiend. You got Arna playing the Morphling now, so you see the true flex that T1 are already shown, which is going to be such a scary thing. Okay, so it doesn't matter if they drop down to the lower bracket, if Execration take this series, or if they move forward to the upper bracket. Just the fact that T1 are now showing that their capability with being able to play multiple heroes in different roles is going to be a drafting nightmare.
My other question is, what does Tino actually build? Because if you go Helm of the Dominator, you're up against an Enchantress. Like, that's a pretty big window where you need to use that gold creep to be able to farm. Oftentimes on the back of pushing. And I feel like you just need to have the perfect team fights go your way on Execration, where T1 show up to a fight that they probably shouldn't, and then off the back of the Exorcism, you take a tower, you know? And that opens up the map where you're able to farm a couple of more camps, which gets you your Helm of the Overlord timing, and then until you're level 20 on the Enchantress, then you don't really care about the enchant quite so much. But there's going to be that big, like, 10, 15-minute window where you're just able to do whatever the hell you want into the Helm of the Dominator before you get that Overlord. Too big of a window. 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I feel like it's key as an item build though. Like, I don't notice it like in defer from the Overlord.
Shocking.
Not really. I mean, what other options have we had since Necrobook was removed? I see the occasional Desolator if they really wanted to up the tempo a little bit, go Presence Aura affect buildings at level 15, especially considering you're into a Pugna, so maybe you don't want the Shadow Raise damage because you want to be much more of a right-clicking style on this SF.
The battle begins.
I get it. Put the spitball on. I don't know, like a Wraith Pact into a Desert like you mentioned. We'll see. I do think Wraith Pact is going to be, the Overlord is pretty core, especially in a game like this. But like you mentioned, there's going to be a very, very awkward timing here for Tino with how that Helm Dom is going to be affected. And even as the game goes on, like Enchantress will have that level 20 talent if she wants to go down that route. So, well, yeah, we'll see what the play is going to be out of Tino. I do think this is a lane that they should be pretty comfortable on. Keep tabs on mid, though, because this is really... We had a lot of back and forth. Bob getting those 2 solo kills prior, but this is going to be a completely different matchup against the Pug.
Are playing around not the greatest amount of HP, so kind of sharing that in common with the Morphling from what we saw previously. So being able to get more CS in the first 2 waves than he did previously. One thing that is a little unfortunate for Execration is that they don't have the greatest heroes to be able to take advantage of this new Lycan change, where Howl is now global if you use it during nighttime. Not the greatest right-click, because it might just be the attack damage reduction component if they're trying to go for an aggressive moment on like a Viper and a Marcy just for that 25% damage reduction.
What are our thoughts here on with Palos playing the Death Prophet down bottom, and of course the flex that they've also shown with the Lycan in the side lane? Like, do we feel like Palos is going to be able to match up relatively well into the really strong Viper Marcy?
I mean, my thought is that there wasn't really anyone else that would have been able to stand there and fight against the Viper. You know, I was saying Juggernaut was my potential thought just because you had that spell immunity, and with the slows you have some kill threat, but I really don't even against a Marcy Viper lane, right? You're always going to have that extra movement speed to be able to get away just with the rebound. So yeah, maybe just wanting to stand your ground a little bit more against this, and then if they do dive you, I'm kind of expecting Vincenzo to be holding on to a few points here just to make sure that he gets the living armor off if a dive does happen and he's not exactly there in the lane.
We see the other side lane as well at the moment. Tino's done a very good job with his micro, just keeping the Wolves away from Whitemon. But I guess it's also then he's leveled up the Wolves and not particularly using them to much effectiveness. But as soon as they're about to expire, just runs them towards the Whitemon Enchantress, get a little bit of harassment out. But it does look like both sides are finding their farm. But I guess this really favors the Morphling though, because it's a hero that does very much suffer at level 1 and level 2.
And like I was saying before, Shaker pretty terrible in the laning stage, unless you've got like other stuns or other amount of burst damage to be able to take advantage of someone that's blocked off from the fissure. Whitemon doesn't care. He's an Enchantress. Like, he just needs to keep burying him out, little bits of regen. He's got full harass mode with his Fairy Fires and multiple Iron Branches. Again, you can't just summon the Wolves and help them assist with last hitting, because you're just going to get themselves stolen away.
Bob, is he going to go for these tops? And oh no! Another solo kill from Bob. Top Flamingo's pop, he just charged in. It gives him the outplayed voice line once again.
Well, we saw how
Zephyr can chase him down, and the fact that they're giving Cuckoo such a strong start can really enable Zephyr to start making some rotations.
Thompson even having to go for the wind lace just to get that little bit of extra movement speed. Very speedy naturally as a Pugner, but so is an SF.
Wait, is the good dude
He might be in a bit of danger here. Drop that a little bit, but ends up paying with his life. And now you got level 6 on Bob to have to deal with, although have the Requiem leveled up just yet, waiting for the ideal time to be able to do it. I suppose with the Nether Ward, it doesn't really reduce the magic damage anymore, but I feel like with that First Blood, it was so close to being able to get the kill onto the Shadow Fiend with just the damage component that would have been well worth it. Instead, they're going to go for a kill with a full rotation.
Bobby ran back in. He's got the Requiem leveled up. He's going to try and charge up the ultimate and set up for the raise combo. As Bob says, no, he's still going to be a little bit cautious here. Trying to secure one of the power runes. It is going to spawn down bottom. The fissure as well, the whole Thompson into place, but Bob's got some issues in regards to the cooldowns.
The one that's happiest about this, though, is Palos. Like, he has finally been left alone on this bottom side. Vincenzo, he's positioning himself a lot more aggressively. Try and scout him away. They see the fact that Marcy's coming back to the lanes, so Palos, he needs to get out a lot more quickly than this.
It looks like that's going to be the case. Beautifully jumped from Cuckoo. Disjoints the Spirit Siphon. Zephyr's going to hold his on. But as long as they keep the poison attack stacking up, and Cuckoo will do just that. Dominating streak for the Viper.
I'm not sure if that's miscommunication or just underestimating the speed that Amasi is able to quickly connect through to the rest of the team. Like, he saw, Tree and Protector gave vision of the fact that Marcy was coming back into that fight, and fast enough to back off.
Again.
Free net worth.
Ooh, a lot of damage, man. If Bob gets a triple raise combo, anyone dies under that.
Thompson's still playing fearless, though. Wouldn't be Thompson if he wasn't playing like this, though. Maxed out in Nether Blast, trying to get some damage in onto the tower. Well, never mind.
Don't play too fearless, sir. Long raise on cooldown. Got Whitemon nearby him. Now he's going to turn it around.
Maybe he was trying to say, use the Wild Wing Ripper, get the pushback. Blast. Be able to scout out Shanks here with the Wild Wing Ripper. Going gets the vision, gets the pushback, gets the body block. Great team play coming through there. Is it going to be enough, though?
Fall down.
All right, Glee. Yeah, they'll find it. Meanwhile, top lane, Arno gets a solo kill onto Tino's liking, so he once again is off to an incredible start.
I don't want to call it selfish, but this is what I was trying to
Gets
do.
in trouble as well. Mid lane Thompson gets the kill, gets the region. He's sitting pretty in the resources, and our T1 tower's going to be in trouble.
Is under attack.
Going to take a lot of harassment, getting the kill off there onto Courier. Whitemon, he's just being a menace, standing in the way. Try and harass him down a little bit. The Tornado, I don't think is going to be able to slow him down enough, but Zephyr definitely will. Tosses it back, gets some additional damage through. Chenzo, the tanky Tree Protector, will end up going down. All the while, mid-tower, it's being harassed too.
They can kill Bob again. He is in trouble. Shanks has got great position, but they know that he TP'd back in. They can go now. Tower's dead. There's nothing to really prevent T1.
Not to immediately reveal himself, but they should see his courier coming through, so Bob wisely enough backs off. What I was saying before was, with the way that Tino has built this Lycan, I don't like the fact that he hasn't got a single point in the Howl. I think you need 1 point just to make sure that that bottom lane is a little bit easier. 8 seconds of 25% attack damage reduction is actually enormous.
No. We'll charge up the shapeshift. Shanks has just been able to juke back in to the T1 tower, so Wymon's going to look for a TP out. The fissure is back off cooldown for Shanks. Now, meanwhile, Bob's in a little bit of trouble. Zephyr and Thompson do an incredible job. This duo playing together from game 1 into game 2. We'll see how difficult it is for Execration now to deal with, and Shadow Fiend not having a tier 1 tower to protect him. I've got big concerns now for how Bob's going to be able to play the next couple of minutes, because we see what happens. Like, if he shows to a lane, Thompson just a couple of spells out, and now Bob, he can't CS.
Cuckoo's not used to this at all. He's used to being targeted a lot of the time, and now he's saying, what? I've just got a completely free lane. Give it to me by my Marcy. All the attention's elsewhere. I love it. Of course, Ana, with that solo kill up top, means that got that in the back of their mind on Execration too. want to take this tower. They need to open up the map a little bit. Thompson look to make the rotation. He's got ED rune bottled, and here we go. Coming in right on top of Tino.
Buy them some time. Thompson's on the south side of the fissure wall, so we can still move on forward for more. He's even going to consider about rotating as well, but the triple raises will answer the initial trade from Execration and Tier 1, but they've still got to be cautious though with Thompson nearby. Force to be reckoned with, but they do have a really good ward for Radiant to play with. It's going to scout out the position for the Pugmas, and Bob tries to charge up the right there, but again, it's going to be up to the summons from the Enchantress. Whiteman scouting out Bob in the tree line. An easy kill. And now they can look for more. But Zephyr, a little bit isolated from the team. He's got Thompson to the north. He's going to look to try and suck away the life of the Lycan, with Ana waveforming forward as well. But Ana's going to be cautious for the moment. That's the attribute shift to play with, and damage will be lacking from Execration. So they're going to push them further away.
He was walking forward for the Echo Slam and he just gets enchanted. Wasn't able to get it off. I mean, the reason they went for that play so aggressively is that they have the vision advantage, right? They've got the Enchantress creeps they're able to scout out with no risk coming back the other way. And the fact that the Earthshaker had been taken out. That is the main priority right now for T1. Make sure Shanks dies. So I want to see him have a lot more defensive positioning come through from him. Only just picking up his Tranquil Boots, not even getting close to either an Aghanim Shard or a Blink Dagger, but his life is so valuable just for the fact that you can cancel out this life drain. It's basically the only thing that they've got that's able to do so outside of the silence from the DP, which Palace hasn't even leveled it up yet.
And it's huge that Execration with their first EXO of the game barely tickle the tower. I mean, half health with the first EXO is not enough when you bring multiple members top. So it's going to force even more heroes from Execration to just secure this. And now for T1, this can open up the map. They can look to get aggressive elsewhere, maybe secure the T1 tower down bottom, or look to dive Bob under the T2 tower. Zephyr. Definitely a different play style we're seeing come out of him.
Tower has fallen.
Yes, the point.
Well, he's going into the drums straight away, so he just wants to enable his team off the back of this very successful start to pick up the tempo a little further. I mean, it's not a mastery position one that is going to fall off later on. We know that a Viper is super capable of flash farming. We know that a Pugna can. Thompson, he doesn't farm creeps though. He farms heroes. So really just making space for Ana, who's, I would say he's been pretty active. He's only been involved in 2 kills so far though, as Whitemon once again. This is what I was talking about. He's a menace, man. You can't let Whitemon have his Enchantress at the 8th pick of the entire draft, 8th hero pick.
So the smoke, a bit of an interesting path from Execration from top to mid. Their side of the map they're going to look to reclaim. They run into both supports at the moment. Zephyr's going to be targeted down. Tino with the combos enough to get the kill. And now meanwhile to the north, Whitemon. Yeah, good luck. This goddamn Enchantress, not an easy person to bring down at all. They're going to need the fissure to keep up.
To my heart.
Looks like Palace instead with the Exo and the Spirit Siphon will do the work.
That's what I was talking about before, right? You use the shapeshift, you use the exorcism, you've got amazing team fight, but when you don't have them, they're very quick respawns coming through for both the Vasi as well as the Enchantress. So T1 is setting up. They're trying to push the lanes out a little bit and then just connect through and push on
Radiant's
forward.
bottom tower has fallen.
Trying to go for some solo kills here between 3 heroes right now. To harass them away at least, but very aggressive positioning coming through from Ana as well as Cuckoo, realizing that they just don't have the tools, the resources to be able to take him down at this stage. Got that drum as well, going into the very early Aghanim Shard as well on Cuckoo, realizing that that is probably an area that they are lacking a little bit, the tower damage that's coming through.
Yeah, and with Ana getting all the space in the world that he would ever need, did you feel like Execration, like this is a ticking time bomb? It is this more fun. Thompson. The Requiem charge-up's gonna be there, but the fissure as well connecting. Vincenzo steps through to the chain control. It's enough to hold Thompson down so Bob can get the damage pumping out. The big kill for him to find. Bit of a streak getting closer towards the BKB.
It's going to be really important for Vincenzo to get his Blink Dagger. I mean, we've been talking about the Earthshaker a little bit, needing to go for his, but just important on that tree. And just to get the turnaround. They're lacking in stuns, so the one that they're able to land is worth its weight in gold. Ana, you'll see this Observer Ward can look to clean it up. Will. removing a lot of the map presence that they've got right now on Execration. They're playing essentially blind. One observer ward at the top, where Tino's playing on top of, and one for the river, scouting out some of these power runes.
So you mentioned that you feel like Arno is going to be that ticking time bomb in a game like this. How can they look to address the Morphling then?
Well, I mean, I was talking about it during the very early stages of this game, is that it feels like T1 need to take a bad team fight, and it's just on Execration to be able to punish that and use Exorcism into another objective. Open up the map, get an Aegis, but T1 are disciplined. They're not doing that. They're making sure to play separately around the map, realize that we haven't quite hit our timings yet, but we've got strong heroes that are able to play early. Pops and Dota, he's nearly finished up his Octarine core. 16 minutes in.
Yeah. Top lane, at least for Execration, they're able to get a kill. Tino does require the shapeshift out of him, but this is going to give him a free wave or two and the bonus gold from the kill to work towards the Helm of the Overlord, which is now coming out on the courier.
That's a big timing for sure, just to be able to keep these lanes pushed out. Top lane's pushing in pretty heavily with the Dominator creep with Siege.
Oh, okay. Good on.
The Tumbler's toy away.
Yeah, just before the blast was able to connect. This tower's still going to take a little bit of damage. They've got the Creep Wave and the Wild Wing Ripper. Thompson's not going to get another blast out, however.
Force Anna's TP back. I wonder if they go for an aggressive play, but if anything, that just means that you're okay with not losing anything else. It means that you actually feel confident in defending bottom if T1 did go for a dive there, but it's still so important for them to hit their own timings on Execration. They don't have a BKB on Palos, they don't have Blink Dagger on Earthshaker, they don't have Blink Dagger on Tree and Protector. Those are the big three that you're going for. I suppose BKB on Bob as well. So, little moment's going to be valuable. 44 seconds on Anna's TP, so wanted to connect through to this. He wouldn't be able to just give this one up. Maybe they've learned a lesson from the last game and are just going to back off, have Shanks here to try and slow things down a little bit, but not actually fully fit.
They might just go into the T2 tower if they see the Earthshaker. He's just chucked out there. Even got a glyph as well, so Palace will now reveal his position. That's a call from Execration.
Get tower. Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Shanks wants that juicy Netherlord, a little bit of extra gold to be able to get closer to that Blink Dagger, but mid tower going down does help matters. Now though, where can you play? Almost no vision beneath the tier 2 mid. I like this one. It's probably where T1 are going to be looking to go for some smokes, but they might also expect this is where they've got the vision, considering mid T1 tower is the objective that just pulled recently.
English is hard. It's okay.
I do English goodly.
I do English goodly. I think I mess up way too often. That's okay. I'll give you a break.
We're Australian. We get a pass.
Oh, I'd love to hear that.
Native language is Australian, but not English.
Alright, so from Execration, in an answer to this C2 tower siege, and the backstab, that could be it. Michael for the Wolves going to start a lot of the positioning. Look at Vincenzo! Steps to the backline, gets the overgrowth. The control is out, setting up for the Requiem. They've only killed off the Enchantress at the moment, but they'll catch up to multiple heroes as Thompson goes down along with Zephyr. And not only do they win the skirmish, now they can move into the pit.
That wasn't even necessarily a bad fight for T1, the one that I was talking about that could potentially turn this game, but still just some great positioning coming through from Vincenzo. Sometimes it takes that moment of individual brilliance to be able to work your way back into this and the extra damage, to be able to take down that Aegis, give Bob a little bit more freedom to be able to get his next item. He's already got the BKB. Haven't had to use it just yet, but it's signs of hope, even just on this top side, right? You've got a range creep there, so no backdoor protection. Zephyr's doing his best to try and clear this one out, but more damage, and they used the glyph for the tier 1 tower mid previously, so you're not going to have that multi-shot available.
Get the creep! Get the creep!
Mega kill!
Oh, we got kills across the map. I'm watching that. I'm watching the Helm of the Overlord go down.
I'm watching creep gaming.
I mean, plus 200 gold. Not as much as I guess what Vincenzo gave, so probably got to keep tabs on the Trim Protector. Did die to Cuckoo, getting him closer towards his BKB. He's already got one component completed.
He's got a arcane rune. That feels good. The dying solo is kind of a big deal. I mean, Bob, I like the way that he's playing up here. I want to have one more person playing a little bit closer to him. Of course, Shank's just acting as a little bit of backup right now. But you've got to put more pressure onto this tier 2 tower. He's got the Aegis to play around. He's got the BKB. He's going to try and take this tower. Palace, his job right now is just stall. Stall out the game. Make sure that you can get a tower or get an objective while T1 don't get anything. Then far ahead. It only says 2k, but their timings are right now. Thompson, with all of that cast range, just able to see all of the...
Finally, Arna wants to show off as well, even pre-BKB. Just comes in, a couple of right clicks, helps secure the tower. So T1, even down the Aegis, feels strong enough to be able to claim out some of the map. We'll see how long they want to stick around, though. It's going to be important for them to, like you said, just really limit Execration from getting towards his timing, because they are very, very close to it.
Now, I have a question for you. Oh. What do you think about Gaben's read on this game? Have a look at the old Dota Plus. The win prop.
You want me to look, or am I guessing?
Yeah, have a look.
Okay.
Do you agree? Do you think Execration have a 2-to-1 chance to win this game?
I think
it goes really late they do, but...
I think T1 are going to have issues in team fighting. I feel like this is a lineup that kind of needs to be doing what they are, like hitting their timings and running through a lot of the early skirmishes. But like Radiant do have big advantages in 5-on-5 fights, and I think that's going to be highlighted even more as the game goes on.
Pretty good job of shoving out these lanes.
Smoke from
BKBs on your important targets.
What great position for the Pugna. Gets out under the cover of the Glimmer Cape. So they will not be able to see his positioning, but Execration is still pushing on forward for more. Try and claim some of the map, seeing if anyone's home by the triangle.
See Cuckoo, that's the better question. He's playing around this bottom tier 1 tower.
They do now.
Feels kind of, you know, might be able to get a quick pick off onto him depending on the vision coming through from T1, which is pretty non-existent on this bottom half of the map. They do it. They claw their way back into this series. They've had a pretty decent start, and at least they claim back their outpost as well. So, they've experience going back their way. What's unique about this top outpost as well? They moved the outpost up a little bit, but now it's off the Aegis. It's not right on top of it.
You know what? Off the Aegis?
You see the thing on the ground underneath the outpost?
Yeah.
It's a little bit too high for me.
Oh my god, shut up.
Tower's being pushed in on the top side. It's a decent just ghost push coming through. I mean, you've got the Manta style on Arna's Morphling now, so it'll require a little bit more attention to be given over, but it's just T1 maintaining that map control. Wait, what? On my map, it's off the Aegis.
Yeah,
but on
no,
what the viewers see, what do you see?
I see the same. It looks fine to me. I don't know. You're complaining. Understandable though. No, I trust you. It's fine. Up mid lane. Aegis still for 30 seconds. They're gonna be cautious. Smoke's gonna pop instantly. No detection. Oh, they're just running forward. Bob gets the Requiem. He's gonna try and target down Thompson, but there's no goal. Finally, he applies the damage. Thompson's fine, and Arna shows up. Away from him with no hesitation. As Execration, they've got to get out. They messed up the side of the fight. They committed too heavily and didn't find any kills.
Very heavy commitment, but without your Death Prophet. Death Prophet is the sustained damage that you've got in a lot of these fights, and it's what creates space for someone like the Earthshaker to come in with that big Echo Slam for you to get the big Blink Overgrowth response as well to some of the BKBs that they've got on T1's side. Weren't able to land that, the fact that you were forced to go in first and just get a solo Overgrowth onto a Pugna who's already Glimmer Cape. No ideal. Go. High ground. TP potential to be able to get back. He's going into the Nullifier that we were talking about towards the end of the draft as a potential response to Pugna. One item away from it. Helm of Iron Will, about 1,000 gold away.
I was just wadding at something. Now I'm trying to remember what it was. I was like, hang on, this make. Oh yeah. Why is little friend's 6-second taunt? That has to be too long, right? That seems crazy.
I think you're... Oh, maybe not a Helm of the Overlord. I was about to say, I think you're overestimating how much damage it does, but yeah, not if it's a Helm of the Overlord creep.
6 seconds though, like sure if you don't kill the target, but sorry, if you kill the target, it's gonna, no, I mean, it's worth it. Doesn't matter how long the taunt's gonna last for, but 6 seconds is a long time for a 1400 gold item, right?
Yep.
Like, is this not like core in every game now? I feel like this is nuts.
Any game that has something, some kind of creep, you know, Eidolons,
okay, sure.
Masters. If it's not, like, jungle creeps really don't do that. Lane creeps don't do that. Execration on the offensive for once.
They're gonna try and pull him off. They might be able to do so before the BKB. Bob's out. Thompson gives him a tip as well. We'll get him back for the laning stage. WS of Execration. Hanging around Anna. Anna's gonna be cautious. Shakes it in with the combination. The take control needs to be perfect, and it is. Execration hit back. They stick around.
There we go.
Back to the
coming through. He's got the Blink Dagger still on mid. He did love the jump previously.
Death Pop, we'll see if they can pull off the Death Puppet. Hellas is pretty beefy with the hood activated.
Nature attend us.
Maybe he's already. Yeah, he doesn't have hers.
Change in the middle. T2's gone, so they don't really have a formation to play with. They can back up to the high ground and won't even be required as Execration are happy with the objective.
No one spied the double damage bot yet either. Little pick up. You're at the placed in the bottle. The one to get it, I mean. Obviously still had another great laning stage coming through, 8 kills for his team. Solid job. Necessarily scaling in levels though, that's the big area where he's falling behind a little bit, and he actually did go the Presence Aura effects buildings that I was talking about before, so really wanting to take any little team fight victory and get more than expected off the back of it. Bringing out that double damage rune. Bob in his way over.
Oh, interesting. Jenks is holding the Tumble Sword at the moment. Seen a lot of the Earthshakers play with that, the Eye of the Vizier. That extra cast range is incredible. I mean, we see often it's kind of the
max mana is not incredible.
It's not
Shaker
nice,
doesn't have a lot to play with, bro.
The fissure from afar is
Bro, I think you're forgetting that Tumbler's Toy gives 200 mana. So he's going to be at 625 minus 20% of that. You've got like 500 mana. That's not a lot.
I'm saying this, we saw Slardin prioritize Eye of the Vizier, and he looked incredible on the Earthshake. So all I'm saying is, like, when I saw him use it, I'm like, alright, he looked pretty good on it.
One of the ones that's allowed to play. He's part of an exclusive list.
So what, should we not then be saying, like, okay, if Shanks doesn't have the Eye of the Vizier, someone on the exclusive list is using it?
He played it alright. He's going to need some, like, game-winning plays to get onto the list of allowed to play Earthshake.
So far, as like you said, he's playing alright. We'll see if he's able to continue that, but can pump in all they need on Execration is just the control. That is the main thing. 12 with the double damage rune, almost level 18. Palos gonna be a little bit more dependent on the levels. Really, level 18 is a nice timing key for the Death Prophet, having that last and final point in the Exo. But it definitely feels like, even though there's a 5,000 net worth lead for T1, like, they really do have to pay some respect into Execration's lineup. Like, this is a team that will thrive in these team fight scenarios.
I was talking about how I didn't like the lack of usage of it in the laning phase, just to be able to help out particular Palace and bot lane. But how, being leveled up now, and just constantly sending these creeps and wolves to be able to push out these lanes, means that you've actually freed up a big amount of time for Bob, as well as Palos, to be able to farm up their next item. I really want to see Palos in particular just get into that plate mail if he can afford it. Onto a lot of gold right now, and I'm not sure how valuable a Dust or a Windlace is going to be to do something else. 5 seconds left on that Roche timer.
This is big.
They find the back line. Can they get the vision down?
This is a big wrap.
Scouting out isn't out of the ordinary.
They see Honor. They see Honor. They're going to get the vision, but instead they'll turn to Marcy. An instant pick-off. But Execration, you need more out of this. Pop the shapeshift for it. Tina's going to charge in. Nullifier's there. The threat at the open the wall. Vincenzo doesn't cast it. So Arna just waveforms in, gets rid of the Treant Protector, and now they've got a sentry as well to Bob's location. They're trying to force out an early use of the BKB, but Bob will be able to reposition. But T1, they weathered the storm. They wasted out the shapeshift. They wasted out the double damage rune as well on Bob.
Using the Ogre Root the entire time to see that they've got this.
Look at the charge up, the smoke. If T1 trying into the higher gun, but Execration will back off.
Or Granite Golem giving his life up for the cause, and now they'll feel like it's easy enough to go into this Roche pit. Have the Wolf here scouting this out a little bit, and out of the poison. No, everything. Got to get it out. No, there we go. Sentry Ward gets dropped down, so there's not going to be any kind of Aegis deny coming through here. Team coming through though, Thompson. I think he gets it first.
Charge up the Requiem from afar. Thompson, they just put on the figgy. They're going to try and blow up the pocket, but the damage is not there at the moment. Thompson's protected. The decrypt out to the north side, and our Bob is getting chased out with a turn into the crit. They'll kill off the Marcy, but they're going to go bite some time, but no shakes. He misses on the Echo Slam. They needed that ultimate, and on T1, they can charge on forward, targeting down Tino with a Lycan. They'll secure the easy kill. Turning to Palos next is going to be Ana. But she's still on cooldown for the Morphling Replicate, so they will not be able to catch up.
Power of the Netherward, my man. That dealt damage to Shanks when he used the Enchant Totem there just to try and set up for that little bit of extra stun to go in for the Echo Slam, and he didn't actually have the blink available. So little things like that. Power of the Pugner, right? All this passive damage, disabling BKBs, and turning your own strengths against them.
Now you got to go up into a second life on Arna's Morphling.
Tower is under attack.
Level 20 with the waveform attacks, and he's got the Ag Shard that...
Pugner and Master still need it.
Oh, yeah, okay, sorry, you already has his shard, so yeah, send it back on the courier.
To provide a little bit of extra range, I suppose, if Thompson gets caught out. The cast range on the Netherward. See a multi-Zuck coming through, unfortunately.
Glizzy.
Some Zuma song?
I shouldn't have even said that.
Yeah, I figure it was something like that.
Ah, no, Shanks, get out. For TP. He'll be fine. Okay. Bob. He's cruising out, but T1. I mean, this is. Do you feel like this is an Aegis where they can poke the high ground?
Oh, for sure. I mean, they have Echo Slam back up, I suppose, and Exorcism as well, but this is a chance for them to just get the lanes pushing back out in their favor. It's daytime as well, so Tino isn't going to have that Howl just to assist with the split push coming through. Obviously, you've got the Ancient Black Dragon to be able to do so, but trying to look for pickoffs right now. Boots of Travel can join at any time. Enchantress, there's always going to be a creep that they have to TP onto as well, so I like the way that T1 has split up the map. Palos.
They will be able to. Oh my god, what was the damage?
That's Enchanted Quiver, my man, alongside of a Marcy with Sidekick and maxed out stun on stun. Devastating. Aegis again trying to trade up top here on Execration. It honestly feels like the most that they can do, even if it's just getting the clip out to enable a future rat play.
Tower is under attack.
Can't fight without the death button. That is the source of consistent damage.
Tower is under attack.
Standing up here, providing that with the aura, and the helm of the Overlord.
Middle barracks have fallen.
They're going to lose a lot pretty damn quickly. Not even bothering for the range racks, and just trying to put his body on the line as well. Lip isn't really going to...
Tower is under attack. Dire's
Back
top
protection
tower
though.
has fallen.
It's already pushed in, but they're going to back off when they see that the Lycans come on back. Get a tier 3, but you lose a tier 3 and a melee racks in exchange. Could have been worse for Execration for sure.
Definitely could have been worse, but we just see how difficult it is for them. Like these fights, what do they need to do differently? Is there a location we need to see them fight around? Is there a hero that just has to be killed off at the side of the fight, otherwise they won't succeed?
Kinda feels like Pogner needs to die. You know, he's been pretty quick at getting off the Nether Ward, Glimmer Cape, Lotus Orb. It's just everything that's going to enable, for example, the himself to cast off his abilities, right? I feel like Thompson's being very greedy with the use of his Nether Ward, just because he needs to. He needs to be able to get rid of that silence. He needs to be able to remove the overgrowth from people. Gonna get to the stage, level 25, where overgrowth is undispellable, but you are a long way away from that.
Nether reaches out.
Ana. Long in. Straightening Bob and Shanks' position. He's keeping up in net worth, but it feels like it's going to be a very difficult task for him to be able to compete in these fights. BKB is something that, I mean, he needs to get a kill, potentially even 2 throughout the BKB duration. He's unable to do so. He's going to have a lot of difficulties with standing his ground.
Radiant's top tower is under
Backstab.
attack.
With that extra damage potential, that minus armor that they need to really burst someone down, and
They've split from Ana.
Seth's coming back.
Now, it's just going to expire in 40 seconds. He's going to wait for him to the tree line. Bob! It's a lot of Requiem damage, so get the first slap, but how do you set up for the second? They're going to be in the neighborhood to protect it for the moment. Ana with the respawn, but instead Execration, they're going to go for Cuckoo. The right clicks from Bob, it's not enough to get the life for Cuckoo. Now Bob is battling over to Ana. It looks like the Morphling's winning out for the moment, but under the cover of the Shadowblade, Bob will be able to get out. Meanwhile,